Hey everybody, Brandon Williams again here with you. Checking back in. Normally don't make two videos in a row like this too often. I do try to put out some video content, but had several people again reach out and ask questions about this. We just talked about this yesterday. So talking about the three F-15E Strike Eagles, actually that photo there right behind me, obviously that's what I flew in the Air Force. Three Strike Eagles that were shot down by friendly fire. This has been almost, 36 hours ago, a little over that now, almost 48 hours ago. With the conflict in Iran right now, with that the U.S. and Israel is waging right now. But the friendly fire incident happened, and all initial reports was that it was surface-to-air missiles from Kuwait. So Kuwaiti air defenses, most likely a Patriot battery or something like that. Well, apparently now, what I saw as of late last night, early this morning, all reports now are pointing to actual Kuwaiti F-18s. So F-18 Hornets, probably most people, know of the F-18 Hornet from, the new Top Gun movie, Top Gun Maverick, or just in general, if you're an aviation buff or follow that kind of stuff, the United States Navy obviously has a lot of F-18s. But we also have exported these to friendly countries all over the world. So several countries, or a few countries around the world that we are allies with, do fly the F-18, and the Kuwaitis are one of them. So apparently, I don't know many of the details other than apparently now it was a Kuwaiti F-18 that apparently shot down three F-15E Strike Eagles as they were RTB, returning to base. Um, the F-18, very capable aircraft. By the way, I don't know if it was multiple F-18s. I haven't. It seems like it was one, but I don't know if there was a formation, multiple that shot these down or what. That I have not confirmed. But like I was saying, F-18, very capable aircraft. These Kuwaitis most likely train, practice Western tactics. We've trained a lot of them that have trained with Allied forces. And, I've heard reports, this is not confirmed at all either, that it was a BVR, beyond visual range, which means you can't see the aircraft. So you're using sensors, radars, other sensors on board your jet to target, identify, and essentially feed info to that missile that's going to target that. But again, I haven't confirmed that either. But again, going back to the conversation yesterday, either way, this still goes back to, you can sort of laugh about this because thank God that no one would, all these pilots and WISOs, weapon systems operators, got out safely, ejected. And hats off, kudos to the our maintenance folks, especially the ones that work on those ejection seats and our AFE, aircrew flight equipment individuals that work on those pieces of equipment, and those all worked as advertised, it appears. So, 6 days for those folks. Obviously, they do a critical job, and when that stuff has to work, it absolutely has to work 100% of the time, and it appears it did in this case, which is great. But anyway, you can't make this up. I mean, it just like I said yesterday, there are multiple, and I mean multiple ways that we have built into the system to identify what we'd call a hostile aircraft. There's hostile intent, there's procedures, there's back to the old school way of visual identification, VID. There is multiple other ways that we can't go into conversations here about, but safe to say, with our technology and systems and equipment we have, there are multiple ways to identify where an aircraft would be, as we call friend or foe. So again, I don't know the details of that. I don't know all the loops in the chain on this particular incident, how that chain got closed, and obviously closed in a very bad way. But it did happen. But bottom line, no, this absolutely should not happen. And here's the other thing. It's not even in, you're not over hostile. Well, I mean, you're in a hostile combat zone, yes, but you're not technically over hostile airspace, over Iran, if you will, enemy's airspace. You're essentially, from what I know, they were essentially either over Kuwaiti airspace or very close to it, because they landed on land, all the videos and pictures I've seen at least. Not showing hostile intent. I don't know. I don't know, where the chain broke down here. Most likely, as in all cases, it was multiple, right? Multiple areas of the chain this broke down. Where it first started to go off the tracks is where you'll need to ask the why until you get there, though, to find the deep level root cause, right? And as I always say, I promise you, though, human factors will be involved. Whether that's confusion, lack of communication, poor understanding, lack of situation awareness, not following proper procedures, mental, physical fatigue. No one obviously intended for this to happen. No one wanted this to happen, wanted to say, I'm going to do this today. But there were breakdowns in the chain, multiple levels, obviously, because there are multiple levels that should prevent something like this happening. So we'll wait and see. Wait and see what happens. Again, and other question I've been asked is, can a single F-18, could it shoot down 3 airplanes? A short answer is yes. Again, without going into much of the technical conversation of the capabilities of F-18s, F-15s, other aircraft, safe to say yes, and especially if said aircraft that they're targeting are not expecting it, and you're essentially RTB, adrenaline. Like I said yesterday, adrenaline's going down. Your defenses are down a little bit. You're in safe, friendly airspace. And then next thing you know, you're under that parachute canopy thinking, what the hell happened? So, especially when you have a target that is essentially not maneuvering, not trying to attack you. Yes, there are ways a single F-18 could shoot down a Strike Eagle. Again, I don't know if it was more than one F-18. Typically, they probably fly tactics like we do, flying multiple aircraft. I'd be shocked if it wasn't a formation. But again, we don't know that, what was involved in that. We do know, though, apparently all reports that it was a Kuwaiti F-18 that shot down these United States F-15E Strike Eagles. So, as I said, the investigation is ongoing, is continuing. Like I said, again, I want to remind everyone, an investigation, different from a debrief. Okay, I talk a lot about debriefing when I work with my teams, and debriefing is for learning and growth. Okay, so what happened purely for the performance aspect, root cause, how are we going to get better? And yes, there will be a debrief with this, but there's also going to be an investigation, because an investigation is what? It's trying to find blame, especially when something like this happens. There's got to be, just by rules and laws, there's going to be some type of investigation, and someone someone will likely lose a job or something. But the point is, when the investigations, there's always blame involved, and you're trying to find blame in addition to root cause. So we'll see. As of right now, though, they may make initial, like I said yesterday, initial procedural changes or something they're going to do to ensure this doesn't happen again. But the operation, the conflict will continue. Obviously, the operation 24/7 of that is the priority of continuing the orders of our elected leaders and generals and officers and other leaders, following those air tasking orders and the battle plan to accomplish the mission. That is the focus with this investigation as a sidebar, if you will. But yeah, we'll see what happens. It's just one of those things, though, that you just it should not happen. So I think it's a bit embarrassing that something like this would happen. Um, but we'll see what the ultimate root cause. Again, not a lot of info other than the kind of the open source stuff that I've talked about and what happened there. And we'll see. Again, both very capable airplanes, the United States Air Force F-15E Strike Eagle, the F-18, the Kuwaiti F-18, both very capable aircraft. Just not sure where in the chain this happened and how that was misidentified. Whether it was lack of following rules of engagement, lack of procedures, lack of communication, or all the above. Who knows? Anyway, we'll see what comes out, but I want to give that update. But again, as always, based on my methodology and what I talk about, I promise you that human factors will always be a contributing factor in all this. Because at the end of the day, even though it is in friendly territory, it's also the fog of war, right? And at the end of the day, unfortunately, as bad as this one was, where it happened, friendly fire does happen in conflicts. Always, always, always a horrible thing. Uh, Again, silver lining here, I guess, no one was hurt. and the ejection seats worked as they're supposed to. But anyway, all right. Anyway, I want to drop that update there, and we'll be checking in later. Keep watching, and hope everybody has a good day. See ya.